The LifeFlight Network is an emergency critical care service dedicated to providing helicopter and fixed-wing transport to seriously ill and injured patients in a safe, timely, and cost-effective manner while providing compassionate, expert medical care. The LifeFlight Network saves lives. The medical crew is a highly skilled and equipped critical care team with the expertise to serve first responders in the shared goal of achieving the best possible outcome for victims of medical and traumatic emergencies. As a first responder, you play a critical role in your community by recognizing the need for air ambulance transport, preparing the patient for flight, and helping the flight crew to identify a safe landing zone. This video is designed to assist you when calling in LifeFlight. The more you know about how to use LifeFlight as a medical resource, the more lives you will positively impact. Remember, LifeFlight is not just rapid transport. It provides a nationally accredited level of care not available by any ground ambulance in Oregon or Southwest Washington.
LifeFlight went into service in 1978, and LifeFlight was the fourth program in the nation. At the onset of LifeFlight's history, we just had one nurse and one pilot. We realized the importance of flight paramedics and decided that we wanted them on board with us, and it's been a great team since then.
The nurses that work for LifeFlight come from a wide variety of backgrounds and many years experience. Most of us have over 10 years experience in critical care and emergency rooms. We bring to the table a little bit more of the critical care aspect, and in conjunction with the paramedic that also has over 10-15 years of experience in the field is a very good combination, and we work really well together to provide really optimum critical care with our paramedic partners. In the field we can give blood. We also have the ability to do chest tubes in the field, and we also have the ability to do central lines if you can't get access. We also have the ability to do surgical critics in the field. We also carry a wide variety of critical care medications that a lot of paramedic crews don't carry.
Medic 21, respond to 1300 Park Avenue. Vehicle versus bicyclist with confirmed injuries. Repeating for Medic 21, Engine 21, respond to 1300 Park Avenue. Vehicle versus bicyclist with confirmed injuries. Cross Street, Delco Court, James Street, map number 2028, map 1121.
Every patient you encounter should be evaluated to ensure the most appropriate level of care is provided. This evaluation applies to not only victims of trauma, but it also includes those who are suffering from serious and time-sensitive medical emergencies, such as heart attack or stroke. Calling in LifeFlight increases the potential to save a patient's life. As you begin to receive information for each call, it will be important to make an assessment of that particular situation and patient to determine if you need to call LifeFlight.
The criteria is really based on, is it a trauma entry and time? What time of day is it? And also, if we have multiple patients, we may use LifeFlight as a transporting resource.
The most important factor is time. Time is of the essence, that golden hour. And the quicker you get them in the air and there, the quicker they're going to get back to where they need to be to a higher level of care. And that's what it's about.
The clock is ticking, and that's the primary purpose of the helicopter, is to reduce the amount of time for the patient to get from the scene to appropriate care.
LifeFlight is not just for trauma. Time is often more critical for medical and obstetrical emergencies than even the more often transported trauma patients. National trends are showing the increased use of critical care helicopters for medical and obstetrical emergencies with a resulting positive impact on outcomes and survival.
We are seeing more and more of the scene medical calls where it's a scene call not necessarily involving trauma. More and more of these seem to be heart-related or potentially stroke-related, where Just like trauma, time is of the essence. And because of distance or delays, those kind of things, the first responders are thinking about getting this patient to a higher level of care where the problem can be definitively treated.
When in doubt about transport, imagine the victim in front of you as a family member or friend, and oftentimes the decision becomes clearer. When you call LifeFlight, you can either put them on standby or directly activate them. Some first responders will direct activate LifeFlight as they receive information prior to patient contact if there's a strong likelihood of need of air ambulance service.
When we're put on standby, dispatch gathers information that they would need and we would need to respond to the scene. They let us know by radio that we're on standby.
Copy.
That way we can get ready for the flight. It gives us an opportunity to get ready and get things moving along so that if the agency does decide they need us, it's just a very quick way of getting us.
Do a direct activate if you know that you have a critical patient. If not, you can put them on standby. Then if we activate, they're ready to go.
Some weather conditions are not safe for scene calls. You may be asked to relay scene weather information to your dispatch center to assist the flight crew. LifeFlight is able to fly in rain and snow. Visibility is a bigger issue than precipitation. When the decision is made to use LifeFlight, the only information that needs to be relayed is the location of the incident, a ground contact, and a radio frequency. As soon as you arrive at the scene and determine if LifeFlight might be needed, an LZ officer should be established and put in charge of locating a safe landing zone. Always remember, the final decision to land and ultimate responsibility for the safety of the landing zone rests with the pilot, not with ground personnel.
The landing zone safety officer is one person that is chosen by the agency that's doing the landing for us that can contact LifeFlight. He's kind of our eyes on the ground. We really depend on him.
We have a landing zone officer who gets dispatched over to that area ahead of time. Sometimes it's a complete engine company, sometimes it's just the chief who can break away from the scene to get the communications set up with LifeFlight as quick as possible.
And they're going to go ahead and they're going to just go through you then, that one person. That way there's not 4 or 5 people telling them what to do and they don't get confused.
The landing zone officer is in charge and making sure that that perimeter is kept. The security of the landing zone needs to be maintained.
Setting up the landing zone is a relatively simple procedure. There are only a few considerations. Some of these include how big of an area the helicopter needs to land in, the characteristics of its slope and surface, and any potential hazards, especially overhead wires or things that might get blown by the rotor wash.
When LifeFlight requests a landing zone be set up, what we look for is basically a square that's 100 feet by 100 feet. We can land in tighter areas. 100 is the best condition. If you have a landing zone that's not quite 100 feet, don't say, hey, this won't work. It may work for us fine. We can see a lot more from the air than they can from the ground.
Definitely, primary concern for both parties is just having a nice open area and explaining clearly, these are the obstructions. You've got power lines, you've got trees, we've got a building over here. You know, that's stuff that they're going to want to know.
Certainly you think about the hazards from the pilot's perspective.
Wires are hard to see. Another thing that we have to think about is the slope of the ground. We can't land with anything that's steeper than about 10 degrees. Once again, if the LZ officer isn't sure what 10 degrees is, the pilot can look at the landing area when he arrives. We can attempt a landing, and if it's too steep, we can move the aircraft.
Rotor wash is pretty intense, and that's why grass or asphalt or a mowed field are the best things to bring it down on.
A common area to choose for a landing zone is a roadway. Roads have the benefit of being a smooth surface and are typically close to the incident.
You're going to want to make sure that if you're landing it, on a roadway, it is completely blocked off and there's no way for anybody to get around or through. Very important.
If you're going to use areas that people are used to walking through,